Before we jump into the video, guys, a lot of you follow me on social media, and you know my daughter Lainey is into competitive cheer, and she just qualified for nationals at Disney World at the ESPN Wide World of Sports. Now, we've got her covered to go to this. They don't pay for the travel or the airfare or the hotels, but what we are doing is trying to raise some money for her team, for the other families that don't have the money to send their kids there. So there is a link at the top of the description, guys, and if you use hashtag Team Chaos, you can donate anything, $1, 50 cents, anything will help get these families. So Lainey's team can make it to this event. They qualified out of 12,000 teams across the United States. So anything helps. And if you do donate anything and you use hashtag Team Chaos, I am going to match those donations myself to give to the family. So I wanted to reach out to you guys, see if you could help out in any manner. And if you can't donate, if you could share the GoFundMe. Now, let's get into the video. A lot of guns throughout COD history have been pretty spammy, and they don't require a whole lot of skill to perform well. But what about the opposite side of that? People don't usually talk about the guns that actually take skill. What is up, everybody? Chaos here. Welcome to the COD History Series, and today we're going to be checking out 10 of my personal picks for weapons, well, that actually took skill to play well with in Call of Duty. So be sure to let me know which one of these was your favorite, or if I missed any that you would consider skillful, drop a like, and let's get into it. This month's giveaway is for a new PlayStation 4 console. All you have to do to enter is drop a like on this video, be subscribed to the channel, and turn on your notifications so you never miss an upload. And in the comment section, let me know why you want to win the PS4 and include your Twitter handle so I can contact you if you're the winner. The winner will be announced at the end of the month. The Crossbow in Black Ops 1 and Black Ops 2 is how we are going to kick off today's list. This was a fan favorite bonus weapon that has appeared in a few different COD games, but it is most remembered for its appearance in Black Ops 1 and 2. Now, the Crossbow was a projectile weapon that fired extremely slowly and was actually a projectile rather than a hit scan, meaning you had to lead your shots and account for the drop from at long range. But if you could actually stick someone with the Crossbow, it was not only a massive showing of skill, but it was also one of the most satisfying feelings in COD history. The BO1 Crossbow had a huge blast radius with the explosive tip as well, which gave you a little bit of extra leeway with the accuracy, but the BO2 Crossbow was way less forgiving, making it a lot harder to use effectively. And I think it's a good way to start a list off like this today. The M1 Garand in World at War and Call of Duty World War II. This iconic World War II weapon has appeared in many Call of Duty games throughout the years, but the World at War and the World War II versions are the ones that get a spot on today's list. Now, in these games, the M1 Garand was a semi-automatic, slow-firing, hard-hitting weapon that would take 2 to 3 shots to kill, and it only had 8 rounds in it. And if you hit your shots with the M1 Garand, good things happen. It was absolutely essential to hit them, though, because it would hit like a truck, but if you missed your shots, that was one less of the 8 that you had to fire. And you also have to keep in mind that the fire rate cap on the M1 was extremely slow compared to just about everything else in the game, meaning it would give your enemy a pretty significant amount of time to pinpoint you and counter-attack you. But if you knew how to hit your shots with this thing, it was a beast. The G3 in COD 4. Now, Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare was a game dominated by guns like the M16, the AK-47, MP5, and the AK-74U. But what about the precision-based guns? Where's the love for them? The G3 was a semi-automatic assault rifle in multiplayer that would kill in 2 to 3 shots depending on your range, hit location, and whether or not you were using stopping power. And that really doesn't sound that impressive in a game like COD 4, where everything could kill almost instantly. But if you knew what you were doing with this gun, you could dominate. Semi-automatic weapons used to be very different in Call of Duty due to the decreased health and the increased fire rate caps, and the G3 was a perfect example of just this. It was a gun that people either loved or they hated due to its high damage, but its very awkward handling. Plus, in a game like COD 4, why would you use a precision-based gun when you could just throw on the M16 on your class and get a bunch of free kills? But if you did use it and you mastered it, you were good at it. The Ballista in Black Ops 2 at number 7, one of the most beloved snipers in all of Call of Duty. The Ballista was the quick-scoper's weapon of choice in Black Ops 2, and there were so many montages with this thing. But what made it so tough to use and what got it a spot on today's list was the fact that when you break the Ballista down from a statistical standpoint, it really wasn't that great. It fired pretty slowly, it had a very small one-shot kill area, and the reload time was actually pretty long, but the Ballista more than made up for it with its very quick aim down sights time, meaning you had to be accurate with your shots, but if you managed to do that, it rewarded you greatly. The Ballista was an excellent sniper if you knew how to aim, but it punished you if you were slightly off the mark. The KSG in Black Ops 2. Let's stick with Black Ops 2 for a second here. And shotguns are often seen as spam weapons in Call of Duty nowadays, but the KSG, well, it was the furthest thing from the truth. The KSG was almost like an iron sight sniper rifle in the way that it handled. It was a slug shotgun that had ridiculous stupid range, and it had one-shot kill potential, but the hitbox was so tiny that it actually using the gun to its full potential, it was difficult. You had to be great at tracking enemies, weaving in and out of cover, and knowing how to get follow-up shots quickly if things didn't go your way. The KSG really was a sniper in a shotgun's body, and a lot of people, they loved it for that very reason. The Riot Shield at number 5. Now, the Riot Shield first appeared in Modern Warfare 2, and has since come back in many Call of Duty games. Many people see this thing as a gimmick weapon, but if you ever actually try to use this thing seriously, it's not easy. You really have to learn how to manipulate people's actions and get in their heads when you're using the Riot Shield. Depending on which game you're playing, there are tons of funky angles you have to learn in order to effectively block incoming fire. But if you really know how to use this thing, you can be virtually unkillable. You can be a juggernaut. I remember back in Modern Warfare 2 and Modern Warfare 3, there were people who would use the Riot Shield, completely hold down domination flags on their own because they were just so good at tracking enemy fire and manipulating enemy movement to keep them in front of the shield and prevent all flanks. I kind of hope that the Riot Shield makes a comeback in Modern Warfare 4 because I would love to see the new movement of Riot Shield players take back over. The Argos in Black Ops 3. This is basically a futuristic version of the KSG from Black Ops 2 that we spoke of earlier, but I would honestly argue that the Argos took more skill due to the fact that in BO3, everybody was flying around on jetpacks and running on walls, which made it a lot harder to track people and line up your shots. Just like the KSG, the Argos had extremely generous range and great one-shot kill potential, but that hitbox was super small when aiming down sights, and while it rewarded you great for hitting your shots, it punished you if you missed them, especially in a game like BO3 where things are, you've got specialists and you've got breccies everywhere. If you're going to use it, you better be accurate with it. And speaking of futuristic versions of things, the Locust in Black Ops 3. Now, the Locust was by far the most popular go-to sniper in BO3 because it was essentially a futuristic version of the BO2 Ballista. But just like the KSG and the Argos, I would argue that the Locust actually took more skill to use than its Black Ops 2 counterpart due to various changes in the gameplay. Not only were people running on walls, flying around, but you also have to remember, there was no aim assist on the snipers in BO3, which was a massive nerf to the sniper class as a whole. So now, not only were people zipping around way quicker than ever before in Call of Duty, but you no longer had the help of tracking targets on a controller, meaning it was all about your aim and your precision with the weapon. And the Locust was extremely difficult to use effectively, but that is exactly why it garnered the number 3 spot today. So what do you guys think? Do you think the Ballista, or do you think the Locust took more skill to play with? The CM901 in MW3. This is a super underrated assault rifle, and it was one of the least used guns in the game despite its insane damage. It was a full auto, high damage assault rifle that was the only fully automatic gun in the game capable of killing with 2 shots, giving it one of the highest theoretical times to kill in Modern Warfare 3. But the actual frequency of getting that 2-shot kill was slim to none due to the insane recoil that came with each pull of the trigger and the precision required to actually handle it. But if you somehow managed to control this mule of a gun, you could melt people from any range before they ever knew what was happening. And man, nobody ever talks about this gun. I had to show it some love, and this is probably the only time you'll ever see it high up on a list. The Ballistic Knife in BO1 and BO2 takes the number 1 spot today. You probably guessed this, and the Ballistic Knife was first added to Call of Duty in the original Black Ops. It was a fun little bonus weapon, but it quickly became a fan favorite, leading to it being brought back in Black Ops 2. It's exactly what it sounds like, a knife that shoots like a bullet. But unlike all the other guns in Black Ops, the Ballistic Knife was a projectile rather than a hit scan, meaning you not only had to judge the travel time, but the arc as well, as the knife would drop towards the ground while it was airborne. Slaying out with the Ballistic Knife was so hard to do in Black Ops 1 and 2, but people absolutely loved it. And there were some people who would actually go off with this thing in multiplayer, and there was some really, really good montages of it as well. I think there was a whole community built around this ballistic knife, and that is why it gets the #1 spot on a list about guns or weapons that take skill. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. Let me know where I got it right, where I got it wrong. Take a second, drop a like, subscribe, and turn on those post notifications, and I'll see you guys soon.